statement, and then we'll go ahead to questions. Carlos, go ahead.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks everybody for joining. Just want to say, really proud of the work that all the players and the staff put in this year. We had great support at home and throughout the year, and really fell short of our goals ultimately this year, and we're disappointed by that. But really excited about our trajectory and where we are, what we can continue to build on. So happy to take your guys' questions, and let's get into it.
Doug, go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Carlos. 3 questions. Is it your intention to be with the team in 2024? Is it your intention to have Gonzalo lead the team in 2024?
Doug, hold on. I'll get back to you. Start with the first one. Carlos, your intention to be on 2024. Go ahead. Sorry, Doug.
No, you're fine.
Hey, Doug. My intention to be here for 2024. Yes.
Okay. And Gonzalo.
Yes. Gonzalo and his staff, we intend to bring them back, and we look forward to building on the continuity and the cohesion that we were able to build the last few years.
And my third question, not my last one, but my third one for this segment. In the press release, it says that there are still negotiations ongoing with Miles Robinson. Are these truly negotiations, or is it more y'all are waiting to see if he's going to sign the already extended contract?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's more the contract is there, and really just a decision for Miles. And so he left for international duty directly after our last game in Columbus. So have not had a chance to catch up with him, which will be right after they finish with their game in Trinidad, and we'll have some discussions. We've got an internal timeline that we have for that decision, so to speak. But I don't know where Miles is on that aspect right now. So I want to make sure we can have a chat first, understand where both sides are. But we obviously know we can't wait all the way into January to have a decision. We also have to have some contingency plans.
Okay. Thank you.
Felipe and Sid. Felipe, I can't hear you. Carlos, can you hear him?
All right, you got me?
Yeah.
Good morning, Carlos. I don't remember if it was exactly at what point of this season or if it was the end of last season. Like, you did mention that this team you thought could contend for a Supporters' Shield. Obviously, way off from that. Gonzalo said that the team is closer, though, to contending in MLS. So I'm trying to figure out like where the expectations are right now, currently, considering the turnover that we're going through right now, that we just noticed. What are the expectations for 2024, realistically, considering that it's going to look like a brand new team in a lot of parts of the field?
So there are a few questions in there. I think for us, the goal was always to finish in top 4. And I think we made that public, I believe. If not, that was our goal, to finish in the top 4. We always want to contend for the Supporters' Shield, right? And that's something, win the championship. So that's always a goal of ours and something we strive to. And I would agree that I don't think we were that far off. Not the Supporters' Shield this year. Cincinnati was fantastic. St. Louis, these guys had a fantastic season. We were not at that level consistently across the season, but not that far from finishing out of the top 4. And I think you see with the home games and how important that is for us. That is why that is one of the major goals, to finish in that top 4. We have such an amazing place to play out with the Bens in front of our fans and how we play there. The flip side to that is we've also got to address some of the issues that historically this club, we have not done very well on the road. And so that is something, we'll probably get into this a bit later, but did very well in the attack. Obviously, we need to find that balance, clean up defensively a little bit better to have that happen where we're getting points on the road. But kind of to your question, we feel good about the core of the group. Now there's always going to be some turnover each year, but we feel pretty good about Gigi, Thiago, Tristan, Abram, these guys down the spine that have been here, and that, kind of their mid-20s, so to speak, that group. So we do feel actually pretty good about where we are on that front. But yeah, finishing top 4 was really, that's our goal for the club. And So unfortunately, didn't achieve that this year.
Sydney?
Carlos, you mentioned Tiago, and it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like the intention is to have him here at least through the spring transfer window. Is that a correct assumption, or is Atlanta still looking for a significant offer from, say, overseas before making a move with him? And if so, can you shine a little light on what that offer might entail?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at the moment we plan on Tiago being back here. Things change, as you guys know, in the transfer window. So if stuff starts to come in December, January, we'll have that conversation with the player. Does this offer fit? Is this the right place to go? And have that that discussion. But really, with Tiago, we've created it where if he would like to stay, and the right offer doesn't come, and the right club does not come in for him, then he's okay to stay, and he's happy here. And so I think that's great for us. And so we're planning on him coming back. Things can change, so I don't want to say 100% he's back, because that's how it works in the global football world. But great kid, and looking to have him. At the moment, we're counting on him being a part of our group next year.
Go.
Was that me? Sorry.
Yeah, Joe.
Sorry, Carlos. I'm in a bit of a noisy environment here. Read Doug talk to Brad, talking about he's still got to have conversations with his family and stuff about his future. Just want to kind of ask your perspective. What kind of conversations have you had with Brad? What do you foresee as his role with the team in the coming year? And as far as the conversations with Quentin Westberg go, are those contingent on any plans that Brad may or may not have for next year?
Quentin is a completely isolated discussion. And I briefly had a conversation with Brad. I saw the comments as well. He is with his family right now, and we're going to follow up and have some more conversations. I don't know where he is mentally at the moment on that front. I want to listen to him. He's been amazing for us since he came in here. His leadership, his presence, you guys know what he means to this club. So really just want to understand where Brad is at the moment, and have those discussions with him. And then, maybe we'll have some updates by the end of the year. But at the moment, Joe, it's just really listening to Brad. I know, everybody was frustrated after the last game, disappointed. So, we let the emotions cool down a little bit, and then have some conversations when we can, be intelligent with our thoughts.
If I could just follow up, if you don't mind, Chris, is there an interest in the club in bringing in a goalkeeper this offseason, in particular, a goalkeeper that the plan would be for that player to be the regular starter?
So I think what I'd say to that, Joe, is, again, want to have conversations with Brad. Regardless of that, we still would like to bring in competition into the goalkeeper area. We moved on from Clement, and so we still are going to be bringing in competition at the goalkeeper position regardless.
Doug?
Yeah, Carlos, back to Tiago for a minute. As far as his production goes, being a finalist for league MVP, he's not paid as much as some of the other guys in the league. Is the club preparing a new contract offer for him to try to entice him to stay rather than perhaps go to Europe? And how does Tiago's roster situation and Franco and Santiago's work within the MLS rules? Because I think y'all are up against a logjam with those three guys. Something has to change or be done, I think.
No. So with Tiago would be the young designated player, and the other two are under 22 initiative. So they would be separate. And so even we've created cap space and the ability, if Tiago would like to stay and extend his contract, stay for a couple of years, even when he ages out of his kind of young DP tag, we still have the ability, and that's what you saw with the Saba signing this summer, where it was, you have the ability to buy him down, or it's a restricted DP. So it's one of those kind of, funny rules that we have in MLS. And then, no, look, I think, again, he's away with Argentina, and so we haven't been able to catch up. Same with Miles and Gigi and Abram. Like these guys left kind of right away, so we haven't been able to have our exit meetings and catch up and see where they are mentally and how they're feeling. So I think after that, we'll be able to address certain situations.
Felipe?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the back line, the over 50 goals conceded this year. And obviously it's something that has to change. Gonzalo was pretty open about that after the game. I think the big question is like, how does the club address that? Like, at what point is this about personnel? Is it about tactics, philosophy? I asked Gonzalo straight up, does this change the way you coach if you have to focus more on the back line and conceding less goals? So in your position, how are you looking to address that urgent need?
I think I wouldn't only look at the back line for that. I think it's as a group, right? How are we playing? What balance do we find? We scored a ton of goals this year, as we've talked about, but we let a lot in also. So like we've got to find a better balance in that, right? We've moved on from Purata as well. We don't know what's going to happen with Miles, so we will be adding some competition to that central defender role, no matter what happens in the future. So I think it's a little bit of both. Can we get some help in the defensive midfield area? That's an area that we definitely want to strengthen and get another ball winner in there. And so I think as you look kind of across the team, you can talk about personnel, you can talk about how we're playing, but we've just got to find a better balance. And that's obviously something we're going to be digging into even more and having more conversations about that to address finding a better balance, I would say is more of the goal, because we still want to be on that front foot and scoring goals, but obviously, we've got to find the right balance.
So just quickly, Chris, if you don't mind, there was a report yesterday that Atlanta United is back in for David Martinez, who obviously a player that you guys were heavily recruiting when Heinze was here, a left-footed center back. Is there any truth to that? Is that a prospect for next season?
I'm not sure who placed that rumor, but we are not pursuing David Martinez. So, these things happen quite often in the off season. A lot of people get linked with us, whether it's true or not. Some people use it for leverage. Some people like to link it to our club. So I'm not sure where that came from, but no, he is not someone that we've been pursuing.
Jonathan Segal. Jonathan, go ahead.
Hey, Carlos, Jonathan here from MLS Soccer. I just wanted to zoom out at a league level for a second, where we saw a summer transfer window where obviously our friends in South Florida made a lot of headlines, but you guys made some big moves. A lot of other clubs did as well. Just what direction awaits or kind of compass for fans in understanding where Atlanta is heading for 24 through a kind of transfer mold? Because you guys have been at the forefront of a lot of things in this league, and I'm just curious what that outlook is for these next 3 months or so to set course for hopefully a fruitful 24 season.
Yeah, it's the league is really evolving, and you see the quality of player coming in. You see the money spent across multiple teams. It used to be kind of Atlanta and maybe a couple others spending a bit of money, but Columbus Crew, who fair play to them, fantastic team this year, knocked us out. They've spent quite a bit of money up there on their team. You look across the league and people are spending. So I think that's what we're noticing. It's a super competitive league. Teams are becoming more complete. It used to be you can just kind of throw money into the attack and you're just going to beat people, but that's not the case anymore. So it's really interesting where the league is going, and it's getting so competitive. The Cincinnati, who struggled a little bit at the beginning, are having a fantastic year. So it's great to see from that side of things. For us, it's trying to, I think early on our transfer strategy was definitely buy young, play here, sell. It's really difficult to sustain that and be competitive. And so trying to have, guys that can stay a little bit longer. Things change. We still want to be active in that market where players like Thiago, who has, a lot of suitors in Europe and will eventually go, and he's super exciting. He's fun to watch. He's dynamic. He's created one of the best players in the league. So we still want to have that ability. But I think as you see where the league is going, it's very difficult to have players come in and go quickly, and you have to be able to have players that can stay a little bit longer, have that core of the team to build around. And it's been really, really interesting to see the evolution of the league, because players want to be here and they want to stay now, which was maybe not the case, 5-10 years ago.
Go back to Sydney, then Rob. Sid, go ahead.
Carlos, going back to the Pineda situation and him returning for 2024, there's been among the fan base some discontent over the direction of the team. Granted, they did make the playoffs this year. Unfortunately, the season ended on a sorry note, but there's still been that level of discontent among fans regarding Pineda and maybe the direction of the team from a tactical standpoint. What would you say to those fans who may be disappointed to hear that Pineda will be coming back next year?
Yeah, well, I think on the tactical side, I would let Coach speak to that from his point of view. But I think, when you look back at 21, when he came in, helped guide us into the playoffs, ended up tied for fourth on points with New York City, and ended up having to go up there, lost to them away. We had a really tumultuous year last year. And then this year, we were in the playoff hunt the whole year. And, I thought we improved as the season went on. And we actually had a lot of belief in here, Cindy. And we felt we had a really good team and could have done something deep in the playoffs. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, we came up against a fantastic Columbus team that was, we got to tip our hat to them. They were just a little bit better than us this year. So saying that, building on the continuity, the consistency, the group as we're going, we feel very good about this group. And I hope you guys were able to see that as well, especially towards the end of the season. We came up against, I think our last 10 games, we had 7 of the last 7 out of 10 playoff teams. And I think our point totals increased to 1.6, which were 1.4 before that. So we're looking forward to next year and just building on this base of what we have and continue to push forward, trying to achieve our goals of that top 4.
Rob.
Hey, Carlos. You mentioned the designated player situation. I was just wondering, with at least one guaranteed spot opening up this offseason, is there any urgency to fill that spot immediately? And sorry, of a second parter. This club has traditionally targeted attacking players with the DP spots. Is there any maybe change in strategy to maybe fill that spot with a different position?
No, so we don't necessarily have a DP spot 100% opening up. We have the ability to, within the roster mechanisms, kind of buy that down or create one with how we brought Saba in. So it's not necessarily a free DP spot, but I think this club is still going to be looking at attackers. Now, a roster mechanism DP somewhere else on the field, yeah, maybe, but that's kind of a hard, I don't know how to explain that really without going into all the roster rules. So I guess to simplify it, yes, we're the attackers, and the number 10 are going to be our DPs most likely. Now, are we going to close the door completely on another DP somewhere else? No, I don't think we would do that. But the intention right now is more having our DPs in the attack.
Felipe, then Doug.
Yeah, you mentioned continuity, stability, this balance in the core. Now that the club is pretty happy with, but it does seem like it's taken a bit of time to get to this point. There's been a lot of turnover, both on the touchline, the coaches. You mentioned MLS. Every year, there's a lot of players coming in and out. But do you think that the constant change of personnel in Atlanta has led to where you are today, where the top 4 is the priority? That's the expectation, not MLS Cup, not Supporter Shield. And is this truly a core? Is this truly a core moving forward? Or will there be more roster turnover next year that changes some of the key positions in this team? I mean, again, Brad, Miles, Joseph were really the only players that the club has built around since 2017. So how do you get to that point where you can keep guys over the years?
Yeah, it's always a challenge. I mean, as you know, Miles is out of contract this year, so that's out of our hands. That's something we've offered to try and keep him, a player that has done very well for us. Coming back off an Achilles this year, maybe didn't have his best season or most consistent season that he's had for us. We feel like that the next year he's going to continue to kick on and improve. So there's always going to be a little bit of personnel change. Some we can help, some we can't help, right? So we do feel good about this core, and we're trying to keep the majority of these guys with us so we can continue to build on this for next year. And just to touch on your point, that finishing in the top 4 is the goal, but obviously we want to win championships and supporter shield. So I guess I don't want to get that confused, that we are still a club that wants to compete for championships.
Just a couple more here, Doug, then Jonathan. Doug, go ahead.
Thank you, Carlos. If I could circle back to Santi and Franco for a minute. Franco obviously wasn't with the club the last at least half the season. Sosa, I'm not sure, played more than 60 minutes in the last 10 games. They both have high salaries. What are their futures with the club? Are they possible transfer or trade options?
Yeah, so good question, Doug. The just in reference to the salary, so the U22 initiative players, they hit your budget at 200,000. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how they affect the cap. But we've had some conversations with them, obviously not featuring in the team, and really some good back and forth. These guys want to play. They're young players. They want to continue with their career. So really the conversation was, if they're not going to feature here or not be in the plans too much, is there somewhere where they can play, and try to find a solution? And so continue having those conversations with those players, their agents, along with various other players that are in similar situations. But yes, the idea would be, if there's not going to be a road here for them, then we would try to find a solution somewhere else.
Jonathan, last one, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to go a bit further on Thiago, because I know you've addressed him obviously in various availabilities over these last however many windows and months. He has found a path into the Argentine national team here in this league. He's a star in MLS, an undoubted star. How do you strike that balance between his ambitions, his status within MLS, and just that pathway for these younger guys that you spoke about earlier in transfer strategies? What's the club's philosophy as you look at his trajectory and also status here in the league?
I think, one, it's amazing that you have a player that won the World Cup for Argentina playing in MLS. You got another one, kid in Dallas, Velasco, right, who was also starting to get called into the Argentinian national team. So, I mean, for me, that's amazing for this league, and it shows where we've come, and it's a place where players don't only want to stay for a year and move on. They're willing to stay for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And it's a destination, so to speak. Now, again, I don't want to confuse it. We're not a top 5 league in the world. We're still going to be a league that needs to have transfers in, transfers out. We're definitely not the Premier League, but it's pretty cool how far this has come along and where we are now. So really, when you say striking the balance, it's not really going to be up to, hey, you should stay here your whole career. Now, if top clubs and Champions League clubs are coming in for Thiago, it's really more a discussion with the player, and we want to work together. When we went down to recruit him in Argentina, my message to him was that, hey, come here, use this as a building block, continue to build your profile, which he has done, continue to play well, and mark yourself on this league, which he has done. And now, when that time comes, and he also would like to make that transfer, we're going to sit down and speak together on that, because it's a decision that needs to be both parties involved and everybody feeling good about it.
Chris, do you mind if I ask one last one quickly?
Make it quick. Let's go, Felipe.
All right, sorry. Carlos, just again on this trend of continuity and stability, and you mentioned you will be back in 2024, but is this a long-term place for you? Because we know you did speak with Rangers about a sporting director roles there as well. Is this where you see yourself moving forward beyond 2024 and part of this project to get it back to where it was in 2018?
I really enjoyed my time here, Felipe. It was obviously flattering to be asked to speak to other clubs about that, a place where I played and holds a special place in my heart at Rangers. I like it here. It's been really, really good with Garth coming in, his knowledge, some of the resources he is giving the club, helping build out the analytics department, the sports performance department. So, I really feel good about kind of the setup that we have and kind of in the front office and how we can help translate that onto the field with the amazing resources that Arthur gives us and the facilities we have. So yes, very, very happy here. And I just want to help contribute and help do what I can to get this club, continuing on that right path and hopefully win us some championships soon. Cause that's what we believe in. And then just one thing I did want to mention, Chris, before we leave was I was really happy with the academy production this year. And so when we're talking about continuity and we're able to kind of bleed some of these kids in, so to speak, we had the 9th highest minutes in MLS out of our academy. So, and then plus that, the production, we had 15 goal contributions out of our academy this year. So goals and assists, which was tied for 2nd in MLS. And that to me was really cool. You saw Johnny come in and play well down the stretch in an important playoff game. Caleb, you saw him turn into a young star this year. Tyler contributing, Chop contributing. So, we're really proud about that and that pipeline that our academy is producing. And so that should help a little bit more, kind of to your question, Felipe, with that continuity that we have guys that know Atlanta United, that come through our system. They understand our style of play, what it means to be a part of here in the culture. And so that's only going to help us a bit more. So I did want to touch on that we're very pleased with how that's come along.
All right. Thanks, Carlos. Thanks, everyone, for your time. If you need a recording, just give us a shout. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carlos.
Thanks, guys.